So Daniel, what we're gonna talk today about? What do you have something for us and our listeners?
Well, one of the things that everybody wants in their life is to be the best they can possibly be. Mm-hmm. And I have a piece of artificial intelligence that makes you smarter, that helps you reduce your stress and achieve your goals faster. And I want to get this technology into the hands of your listeners so that they can become smarter and they can provide a better life for themselves and their family. And so I'm going to share with you a new piece of artificial intelligence today.
I'm upset with you. Do you know why? I'm struggling the last 3 months to finish my thesis, you know what I mean? Like, with the last part, last 60,000 words. And now we have come with machine, which is going to make me smarter and everything else. So, Daniel, tell us more about this artificial intelligence machine. It's a machine, or what is it? Like a software, or what is it? I mean, I don't understand. Darren, what do you think?
I want to hear more.
Well,
want to hear more? Well, let's get into it. Everybody is 100% emotional, and emotions drive our life. So what happens with our body is we first of all have a trigger, and there's a thought. Our thoughts then produce 95% of our emotions and our feelings. And those feelings then determine the actions we do and don't take in our life. Mm-hmm. And what we need to become more aware of today is our emotions, because it's the emotions that cause the big problems in our life. And so using artificial intelligence, we can now measure your levels of emotional intelligence by measuring brain wave frequencies in your voice.
I mean, this is very solid now, because Darren and I are looking at each other. Dr. Joe Isaac, he doesn't know what to say.
I'm trying to think, what's the background to all this, and how someone discovered something like this?
How they can discover with the voice, you know what I mean? But you're in trouble, Darren, because you said that, that Joe has a better voice than me. So, like, Daniel, please continue.
He does have a nice voice. I was listening to that before, resonating right out of the chest.
I'm quitting now, I want to tear apart my contract. So please continue, Daniel.
Well, over the years, quantum physicists, biochemists, people studying epigenetics and psychology, they've realised that all of life is a frequency. And inside of our voice, we have frequencies, and they represent the frequencies of the brain. We can also measure the frequency of the DNA in our body and also our mental and emotional health. Mm-hmm. And so this technology, years ago, it started by measuring brainwave activity, and now we measure brainwave activity through the voice. And then what happens is the artificial intelligence, with more than 100,000 case studies, then combines the voice recording with all the data, and it shows people their level of emotional intelligence. 9 different personality styles. What makes them stressed? How fast they move? How fast they start? What happens when they get towards the end? We can identify up to 481 emotional triggers with a 90-second voice recording, and then share with you your personality style. So this piece of technology gets deep into the mind.
Look, there's, I know you're the world most leading expert in emotional intelligence, but, there's nobody better to ask about these things. But may I ask Dr. Joe Isaac right now, Joe, why emotion is important to us? I mean, I know Daniel is going to be asked this question as well, but why the emotions important to us? Why are we using emotions for decision making?
Let me answer this in a form of a question.
Well, thank you, Dr. Joe Isaac.
Let me answer it in a form of a question. How do you think our wrinkles on our face get formed?
Becoming old?
Well, that's the result, but the formation of it. It's essentially chemical reactions in the body, chemical materials inside the body, frequent facial movements. That's why if you see someone that has got more of this part, that means they're normally a smiley person. If they have wrinkles here, there's chemical reactions that happens inside the body. Those chemical reactions regulate how we look and regulate how you feel. And another important thing, the difference between emotions and feelings. And most of the time, a lot of people don't see the fine line between the two. Emotions is an external stimuli coming to you. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean anything. But the feeling is the interpretation of that. So if someone said something bad to you or appears to be bad, I've already made the feeling happen because I judged it, I interpreted it. But it's not necessarily bad. And I always say, if someone says, I love you, for example.
Yeah.
That might be, I love you. I need to now, this is the emotion part. The feeling here is going to interpret that.
Yeah.
I love you. Is that a good thing? Or is it a threat? Maybe somebody saying, I love you, and they really know what they're going to do to me. They're going to hurt me.
Oh my God, Joe. So Daniel, if we can now, I'm just like I'm in shock now. I mean,
He's going to hurt me.
Darren, you and I, we're smiling a lot. That's. I mean, we are not angry people. Well, at least I'm not. You know what I mean?
I love smiling.
Yeah, but that's true. You know what I mean? But Daniel, so as much as I like to know this, how this works, and how are you gonna, to the voice, I'm still trying to understand. You explained this very well. So how is possible to somebody test this with you? What's the way?
Process is very simple. What we do is we take a 90-second voice recording, and as you talk, you could sing your favourite song, you could do your ABCs, you could count to 100, you could read a page in a book.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is there's a certain vibration that comes through your voice. And what Albert Einstein once said, he said, everything in life is a vibration. And so what we're measuring for is these vibrations. And as Joe mentioned a moment ago, he mentioned the word love. The emotional frequency for love is about 500 hertz. And through a voice recording, we can pick up that level of frequency. So all emotions have frequencies from love, which is about 500 hertz, and then you go all the way down to guilt and shame, which have a frequency of about 20 hertz. And so the voice recording picks up this vibration in the voice, and then we measure it.
Interesting, Darren. What do you think about engineer? How technology?
I understand. I'm thinking about it because you can easily pick out different frequencies. It's like audio when you hear like a tone of some sort. It's just these tones are very small and not detectable, discernible, except by things like the software and that Daniel's talking about. So it's sounds quite amazing. I get it. I'd love to hear some like practical examples.
Okay, so Daniel, after the break, would you like us we record, Dr. Joe Isaac voice, or Darren or myself, and then we can, you can do some analysis of this, or how would you like to do this, Daniel?
Let's do it. Well, I've got some great case studies here, and I'll share with you some examples of common people who are becoming more emotionally intelligent through the use of this artificial intelligence.
Sounds great. Let's go to a break. You're on Business Insights with Murray and Darren on
Stay
Alive.
with us, and Daniel Daniel is a fourth person in the studio. Even we are limited on 3, thanks to Darren Capes Davis, and we are truly grateful having expert from Taiwan on emotional intelligence, Daniel Tolson. And Daniel, we're gonna come back after the break.
21 minutes past 1, Alive 9.5. Business Insights with Murray and Darren.
And thanks to Darren, we have the second guest, 4 people in the studio, directly from Taiwan, the emotional intelligence expert. And no, that's not any expertise our guest from Taiwan has. It's a few other ones, but we're talking today about artificial intelligence and the voice recognition, who's going to make you very smart. I am upset with Daniel Tolson. I love him very much and very dearly, but he's discovering this machine now. Well, last 3 months I'm struggling with 30,000 words for my thesis from, whatever was number, 70,000 in total. So Daniel, I know that Darren was kind enough to offer his voice for analysis. Are we ready to analyze his voice and tell us everything about him, what we don't know deep inside?
I don't know whether I should laugh or cry when I see this one.
What do you mean to say that? Well, I'm going to laugh because Darren, so okay, let's go make a laugh. No, we don't want to make a fun of Darren, but I would like to, we have the laugh. So tell us.
Well, let's put a frame around it first of all. We've got to understand emotional intelligence. There's 5 pillars of emotional intelligence. The first one is self-awareness. Mm-hmm. This is understanding why you think and feel the way that you do. What we know in the population, only about 36% of the adult population can accurately identify the emotions that they are feeling at any given time. And so what we seek to achieve when we're using artificial intelligence is to increase awareness. Now, something that's fascinating about increasing emotional intelligence is the person with a higher level of emotional intelligence will earn on average around about 39,500 Australian dollars per year more than somebody with low levels of emotional intelligence. So as we increase the self-awareness today for Darren, then he can then regulate his thoughts and feelings more effectively. The third pillar of motivation is motivation. He can then become more motivated, and these are the intrinsic motivators we're looking for. He'll also become more socially aware. He'll be able to read the emotional makeup of other people more effectively. And then, with social regulation, he'll become a far better communicator. And so what we're seeking to do today, Darren, is to increase self-awareness. So let me know, Darren, when you're ready to roll.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
I'm ready. Take it away.
Okay, we'll have some fun. You got some wonderful characteristics here. And with a 5-minute voice recording, because we did an extended report for you, we've found more than 1,441 emotional triggers. And the first thing that I'm going to have a look at here is your current level of stress. Now, one of the things that shows us here is that you don't tend to have people stress in your life. The stress that you experience is more to do with systems and processes and around your career.
This is like I almost start swearing. It's true. Like, as you talking this, Daniel, that machine, whatever you're using, it's accurate because I know Darren, and so far I would say 90% accuracy. Yes.
The other thing I can see here, as we just have an overview of the report, I can see that your life force energy is really high. And so when I observe you, I was watching you in the boxing ring the other day with Maydad down at Bondi Boxing Gym, and you were light on your feet. Although you look like a T-Rex when you're boxing, you look very light on your feet. And your life force energy here has been measured at 93.2%, which is on the high side. Now, when it comes to expressing your emotions, we call this for you is extrovert first degree. And I'd like to just to check in with you and see if this is true for you. What we've discovered here is that you like to talk about your emotions, and you can come across as an extremely caring person. Would that be true for you?
Yes.
Mario, would that be true for what you know about Darren?
Absolutely. I can't answer his name this time, but yes, I can confirm this, concur. Yeah.
Wonderful. So this is something that I can understand from you. Now, if we were debriefing this in full, Darren, we'd go a little bit deeper and see how that this helps you achieve your goals. But we're just going to have an overview today. One question that I'd like is that in your life, do you find that you enjoy the support of other people? People lending a hand, helping you achieve your goals. Are you open to accepting support from the people around you?
Most definitely, yeah.
Wonderful. Excellent. So this is just a quick overview here. One of the other things I'm taking a look at now is your emotional life journey. So can I ask a personal question?
Yes, you may.
Have the past 2 to 3 years been very testing for you emotionally?
It's been an interesting journey, yes.
What's some of the traumatic experiences or testing times that you've been through over the past 2 to 3 years?
Well, I've been
He met Mario Beckes.
Yeah. Well, actually, that's one thing, and you'll probably be able to answer this, and my response will probably come out in some other of your details. But I've been looking for opportunities because of just needing some change, and so I did finish up work back in May, and that was full-time work at the place I was working for 20 years, and and part of that was just looking for doing other things, and then exactly the same time I met Mario and Business Insights, and so it's been a lot of change to put it in a positive way.
I must say something, Daniel. It's accurate because I know that Darren for a long time, but I know him maybe last 8 months very well. And this is the moments when I say Darren, he what you're saying it's true, and this is what I love about Darren. He doesn't talk too much, but he can't hide some things. So far that's good. So how are we going to make it Darren? How are we going to make it Darren smarter now? How is going to make him more money?
We're going to help him become more aware and show him how to manage his emotions more effectively. And there's some key emotions here that have been triggered a lot of times for you, especially over the last 2 to 3 years, Darren. What I can see before that, probably the 20 years before that, there wasn't a lot of significant emotional triggers in your life. But in the last couple of years, I can see a lot more emotional triggers. And would it be okay if I share some of these emotions that are being triggered off for you at the moment, based on what I can see on the report?
Yeah, sure, fine.
What I can see here, and this is something that you may have awareness of, or you may not be processing it, because what it says here on your report is that the emotions that you're experiencing at the moment, the observed emotions, are not getting enough attention to straighten them out. And a couple of common emotions for you that have been identified here is the emotion of sadness. So to ask you, how often would you experience the emotion of sadness?
Every time I hear listen to Lana Del Rey, Summertime Sadness. Look, how about this, Darren? We take a break of this one, and you can answer to the Daniel after the break. Daniel, we can do this.
Idea.
Daniel, can we do that?
100%. Let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Daniel Tolson directly from Taiwan, analyzing the voice of the Darren Caves Davis and to improve his to become the beast bigger than me. So thank you for listening. Business Insights with Mario and Darren. And Darren now take a short break with our guest in studio, Dr. Joe Isaac and Daniel Tolson from Taiwan directly.
Business Insights with Darren and here's Mario.
Like I was just so small to be missed in the studio, just 165 kilos and my 2.5 meters height. Daniel, I'd just like to ask you one question because we analyzed it, Darren, very closely. Now, I know that you are being so accurate with the Darren, but I'd like to ask you, so how the people can benefit from this by contacting you and analyzing, using that artificial intelligence in a business world or privately?
In a business world, when you increase your level of self-awareness, you start to unlock more of your potential. And about 84% of the population have this feeling of unfulfilled potential. They have this feeling of this superpower inside of them, but they feel that something's blocking them. And so what I say is that if you're aware of a strength, you can use it. But if you don't know you have a strength, then you can never use it. It's like my grandfather, he used to hide money under the bed, and we're in New Zealand, and he hid the money under the bed, and we drove 100 kilometres south, and he put his hand in the pocket to buy lunch, and he had no lunch. He had no money for lunch. He had money, he just didn't know where it was. And so we can have these superpowers, and once we become aware of them, we can start to utilise them. So in a business, you can become a more effective leader. You can become a much more empathetic manager. And in your personal life, you can become a better lover, a better partner, a better father, a better mother, a better spouse. And so if there's an area of your life that you want to improve, emotional intelligence will always help you become more effective.
I'm just blown away because, you know, we talk quite often in a studio about emotional intelligence, and we're meeting so many people, Darren and myself. However, this is the breakthrough, I would say, you know what I mean, particularly from the expert like yourself who's coming from that field, emotional intelligence, using artificial intelligence to help people to become the superhuman. Say, what do you think, Darren, about this one? You know what I mean? Would you accept, you know what I mean, to be not coached and guided by Daniel, but artificial intelligence help you to become the superhuman? Because my understanding of superhuman is the strength. You know what I mean? Honestly, like that's
I would
so
say,
backwards.
and this is how I like to play out my life, is that any sort of information about me as a machine, being a human, because that's all we are in the end, is beneficial for me to understand so I can actually improve the machine.
The thing it is, you know, that software sounds to me very beneficial for everybody. So if everybody wants to utilize your skills, personal level, and as a coach, and plus that software, how they can come contact with you, where they can see demonstration of that software, and, you know, how can they upload their voice, and you take it further.
Well, one of the first things that I say, Mario, is that our mind is like a parachute. It only works when it's open.
I listen, after this show today, Darren, seriously, I'm going to have some pills because Joe, he says one thing, Daniel, just a top up, you know what I mean? And after this, I'm going to be so pumped with my brain. So what do you mean by parachute?
Well, if you jump out the back of an aircraft and your parachute's not open, you're going to come crashing to the ground. So a parachute only works when it's open. And that's like your mind. And for people who come to work with me, I say, you've got to have a mind that's like a parachute. And it only works when it's open. So people who are really open to trying something different. You know, when you go to the doctor does an x-ray. So if you think you've fractured a bone, the doctor does an x-ray. And once the doctor does the diagnostic, you look at the x-ray together and you say, it's fractured or it's not. And so what this artificial intelligence does is it takes a deep x-ray inside to your brainwave frequencies. And then what we do together is we work through here and we explore what's happened in your life. We explore some of your emotional weaknesses and how you can correct them. And then we look at your strengths and how you can utilize them and optimize them. So if people would like to learn more about this and like to see a demonstration, you can go to my website, danieltolson.com, or you can write to me personally and I'll respond personally. My email address is Daniel, DANIEL, at Daniel Tolson, DANIEL, Tolson, TOLSON.com, and I'll reply to you personally and I'll show you via video how this works.
And if I may ask you one more favor, when we finish this radio show, maybe today on a weekend, if you don't mind, just take a small video, you know what I mean, what the software again it is, you know, that you spoke with us and how they can reach you again. So, you know what I mean, to our listeners today on our website, alive905.com.au, there will be podcasts with Daniel Tolson directly from Taiwan. You should listen to this one because it's going to assist you very well. Daniel, thank you for being our guest today.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you. Daniel, we should maybe rock and roll, little bit short break or... Absolutely.